Hello again, it's your friend Drum Boy Reads Slow. I'm back with another episode of the Drum Boy Reads Slow show. Sorry, I was out of commission for the holidays because it was the holidays. So the promise for every Tuesday to Wednesday, a new episode. Well, I wasn't gonna keep that promise anyway because I'm just not that serious about this channel, but I am gonna keep it going. So it's going to be every Tuesday or Wednesday that I so choose. And anyhow, this is the big year-end episode. So episode 2 is going to feature some commentary on album of the year, like for metal and rock. You know, I'm not going into every genre, but for metal and rock, album of the year, my top 15, so to speak. And we're also going to get into what this channel's all about, my top 20 comics of 2025. So, without further ado, let's jump into the first of the lists. All right, my metalheads, buckle up because you're first. We're going to get right into the top 15, as Drum Boy Reads Slow sees it, metal and rock albums of 2025. Starting at number 15, from the Ukraine, we have Morbanact with No One Knows We're Dying. Now, this was symphonic black metal. It's pretty interesting. I mean, you know what? Nothing's groundbreaking here, but this was just a subjective pick on my part. It came out just this month of December. So last minute entry in 2025. But it's a symphonic black metal that basically reminds me of the band Mithras, and I liked them because they reminded me of the band Morbid Angel. But there's no connection between Morbid Angel and Morbanact. This was just some cool sounding stuff that was more on the spacey side, kind of like Mithras was. So, coming in at number 14, we got from the U.S., New Jersey, we got Evoken with Mendasium. I don't think I pronounced that right, but for me, why this is at 14 and not higher is Evoken always just sounds kind of like Evoken to me. But anyhow, jumping up to number 13, also from the United States. This is gonna be more of like a prog rock or a prog hardcore. I'm not sure what they are, but they would have never been on my list with any of their previous albums. This one was a little bit different. We got the Blue Nowhere from Between the Buried and Me. The game changer for this one was the cohesiveness and the general mood. It was like it's hard to place it. It kind of felt like a mixture of Steely Dan and Faith No More, heavier Faith No More, and maybe like Pearl Jam production with blast beats thrown in. I'm not really sure how else to explain it, but as the record went on, I became more and more invested. It never felt cheap or any of the failings of commercial rock and metal, or commercialized, I should say. So that was a pretty good release, and it was my number 13. Number 12, we have Phantom Spell, Heather and Hearth. This is a band from Spain. This came out on July 18th. Sorry, I didn't get the dates, the month and the dates on the previous entries. I will get on that. But this is this is prog rock and like a classic heavy metal mixture. This was pretty good. You know what? Like I had like classic rock stations and even oldies stations. They would play stuff like this, and this kind of brought me back to all of that. It sounded genuine and authentic, and the songs they weren't directionless like some of the entries or the non-entries of this list. At 11, we got Gruesome with Silent Echoes. All right, this is from the U.S. We have I believe Matt Harvey from Exhumed and a few other very experienced musicians. And one side note for my comic fans, Cold Slither, they got a side project called Cold Slither, and this is all known and through Hasbro. I don't know if you heard anything about that, but this actually features members of this band. So Gruesome is, if you don't know, they're basically doing their best impression of Chuck Schuldner's Death. And on this record, they just basically did all like the it was almost like the unreleased tracks from the Human Sessions or something. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Not groundbreaking, but it's gonna give you a good feeling if you were a fan of Death. Okay, at number 10, finally, we're getting to one of the blasters, the real blasters here. Imperial Crystalline Entombment. July 11th release of Abominable Astral Summoning. Alright, this band is freaking awesome. There are so many blasters this year. I mean, that's just, that modern production thing. But this is one of the only two bands that really stood out for me. This features a drummer. I actually saw them play for Vital Remains, Jack Blackburn. They were amazing then, and they are amazing here. I really enjoyed this record. Very tight, very technical, very much like a mashup of, like, if you took Dark Funeral and Immortal. On the previous records, it was for me, it was all, Dark Funeral worship. This one, they got that Immortal, like Damned in Black vibe. Very, very cool stuff going on. Now, at number 9, this one was a new discovery for me this year. I'm sure I've heard Hooded Menace somewhere along the way, but this record spoke to me in a year where, I gotta say, lately, Black Sabbath has just become my favorite band. I mean, and I'm talking, the first 8 albums really speak to me, and then I do love, my Mob Rules. I love even the Tony Martin stuff, but I really love Ozzy's era. And this just screamed Black Sabbath, but in death metal form, and it was really cool, and it spoke to my personal interest right now. So I have to say, like, highly recommended. It was a really fresh take on death metal, which has been getting more and more and more commercialized and more cookie cutter, and I'm just getting sick of that. So this was a good take. This was great. Hooded Menace from Finland with Lachrymose, Monuments of Obscuration, released on October 3rd. Woo, good one, really good one. All right, number 8 surprises me. This would be Paradise Lost from the UK with Ascension. I wanted to put this on this list, and I thought it was very good, but I want, normally records like this, I end up passing over because the very crystalline, I guess, so let's reuse a word, the crystalline, very, very clear production never really speaks to me. And also some of the bigger names, I just notice everything just feels so plastic when it comes out, and it kind of takes away the raw audacity of the band that that got them to the point where they could even get to a fan base big enough to necessitate a studio stepping in such a way. But for Paradise Lost here, everything was written in a way that this could have that mainstream production, that crunch, that perfect clarity, but it all worked out. It all worked out in their favor. So that's just the mastery of that band, is that but that to me, that was just like my first thought was, I'm not gonna like this, and then I ended up liking it a lot. And I also wanted to put it on this list because I feel like it's a good gateway. What was I trying to say there? Gateway record for someone who's like, they're into metal, but they're not into, like, some of the more extreme genres, or some, and this is one that's simple enough to pull them in, but complex enough to drown them. Okay, this is good entry level stuff. But I mean, this is Paradise Lost for the diehards as well. So Ascension from Paradise Lost, number 8. Number 7. This was my other big blaster this year. A little bit slower though, but this was Hate Forest Against All Odds from the Ukraine. the addition of like a real drummer. I can't remember if I've been keeping up with any of the latest Hate Forest records that slightly preceded this one, but I do remember some of the older records, and when he was featuring a drum machine, that just always, kind of killed the, I'd be into it for, a couple of spins, and then I just kind of get bored of that. So that was really helpful. I love when the blaster just goes. I'm a big Judas Iscariot fan, and that's actually kind of what this reminded me of. It almost sounded like Judas Iscariot, meets like the vocals and the guitar tuning of like Pseudo God or something. This was really cool. I really liked it. It sounds like it's gonna be so boring for my description, but it's good. It's good stuff. Just blast it and just get lost in the hypnosis that it causes. At number 6, this is not a like a metal entry, but this is a very mainstream entry. We all know them, the Deftones. This shouldn't be a surprise. Private Music was pretty cool. 10th studio album. Same deal as Evoking. Deftones sound like Deftones. You're not gonna get a new trick out of that, dog, but they'll mix it up and give you some stuff that sounds fresh for about a week. We got Striper in at number 5. Greatest Gift of All. Christmas album. Just plain fun. And Striper is worth your time for every song they do. So, just take my word for it. Get it. Even though it's going to be January. So just get it. At number 4. This entry is a little bit of a surprise for me. I don't know. Not my normal cup of tea, but they had a certain edge of the night, you will say to them. But anyhow, this was a Hangman's Chair. This is a French band, and this is a good one. February 14th release of Saddiction. What a weird name. Band name. No, album name. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's actually a pretty good description of the good description of what you're gonna get out of that. It actually kind of has like a minimalistic Deftones feel to it, but this is also a little bit of like Typo Negative. The vocals don't sound like either of those bands. I'd say just give it a shot. I'm doing a really bad job of describing this band, but they got like a sexy dark edge to them, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I mean, they came in on 4 on my list. I was playing them, and then the other day I heard it booming in somebody else's room. So looks like it's a catchy album. At number 3, we're down to our top 3 of 2025. Now I just want to generally say the past 12 entries. The list was just kind of like casual here. There was like no real, preference or order there. But for these 3, these are my definite 3 top albums, full lengths for the year. Coming in at number 3, a well-known band, or maybe you don't know them yet, but Propagandhi with At Peace. It's a punk rock / metal legend, I should say. And this was actually my first positive experience with this band. I checked them out a couple of times, but it just didn't take for me. I might have been just too immature, looking for something a little heavier at the time. But to me, if I could just tell you what this got me vibing, one of the worst things being a Metallica fan is knowing that Saint Anger exists. This album almost sounds like if Saint Anger had gone incredibly well and they got like every note right. Like this has the energy Metallica wished they could have had, so they could have just taken on that big change in direction that they wanted to go. That just sounded so ridiculous. The Propagandhi has the energy to do that, and they have the actual, just in the guitars, everything that they do, they just have that raw energy to pull off what I think Metallica was trying with that ridiculous record. This is a high energy record. I know there was a lot of droning songs. I'm mainly talking about like that title track. I didn't really like that album enough to really get into all those songs. But in any regard, this is a really cool record. And that was a really vague description. But this, don't take my word for it. Just go and listen to it yourself. This was a really fun record. And I'm not a big punk guy either. I'm really not. And this was top notch. This is like basically now it's the Misfits and Propaganda. So there you go. Coming in at number 2, my top 2. This was a tough choice. But coming in at number 2, I'm gonna go with Imperialist from California with their September 5th release of Prime. I'm a huge Dissection fan, all right? I'm a huge Dissection fan. That's one of the bands that helped me kind of like cut my own style on drums. And yeah, I definitely really appreciated this record a lot just for that. But I'm also a Sacramentum fan, and I'm also a Lord Belial fan, and I heard all that stuff. And this band oozed old school melodic black metal so well, and the fact that this is, I believe it's supposed to be sci-fi, sci-fi based. You don't hear any of that. What you hear is the bands, this band has their own sense of creativity. I went into it. There's a little special on it, but this band got it right. So I've heard several bands go for the same exact type of dealio this year, and only Imperial has got it right. And Imperialist might be the best. I'm not gonna say they're in no way an impersonation band. No, nothing like that. Okay, I forgot the name of that one a few years ago who was just straight up, trying to recreate Dissection albums. But this is without a doubt, one of my favorite ever Dissection influenced black metal projects. Record, I should say, that I've ever heard. It's such a good homage to that era of black metal, and it wasn't just the details of like the production or anything. This was actually came down to the musicians and how they presented themselves and how they went through things. So anyway, we've gotten through that, and our band number 1, our album number 1 of 2025 is going to be another shocker for you. You're going to think I'm a shill, but I'm not. Just go listen to the record and check it out. We have Mausoleum Gate from Finland with their November 14th release. And you know it has to be good if it's that late in the year and I like it this much. Space, Rituals, and Magic. Okay, this is another one. We got some Black Sabbath in there, but we got a little bit of Deep Purple in there. We got a little bit of Pink Floyd in this too. I might even hear the Doors. But here's the thing. It doesn't sound gimmicky. It isn't, plastic in any way, for one thing. This sounds like it belongs in the 60s, 70s, or 80s. Released in one of those decades because they borrow stuff from those. They stopped right at... There is no 1990 in this whatsoever. This band encapsulates, for me, my 3 favorite decades of music, and they do it with a sense of authenticity that makes anyone that I've played this record for think that it's a record that is about 50 years old. Okay? What I can honestly say is everything I've described, I'm not just, I listen to those bands, and it's all in there. And I'm missing. I even heard a point where it almost felt like it was like something from Def Leppard. This was a really expansive effort here. This band put the time in, and if you like old school heavy metal with a flair for the creativity and lots of synthesizer or keyboards or organs, the organs sound authentic. This was produced. It fooled me if they edited this to Oblivion, I couldn't tell. I could not tell. This is just pristine sounding, very authentic, old school heavy metal, old school rock and roll too. You know, that's like Ozzy used to say. He wasn't metal, he was rock and roll. This is a band that encapsulates that. And hey, the vocalist does a pretty good Ozzy. He does it. You definitely know his main influence. So if you're missing Ozzy right now, this is a great record for you. All right. So that's my 2025 albums of the year. Let's get into the comics. And if you're a metalhead and you're like, I don't care about comics, bye. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm gonna still talk about my comics. All right. So we are into the top 20 comics of 2025. Now, forgive me if you don't see your favorite issue or your favorite ongoing miniseries, etc. on my list. I am a human being. I did not get to every single title. I have a lot of them on hand, and I will do an amended list when I've caught up for 2025. I do promise that, but I'm sure nobody will actually click that video in 2026. But in the meantime, these are 20 of the top, I guess I can't call them the top, my favorite or my personal picks for my top 20 for 2025. And we will be starting with number 21. Yeah, bonus. So we got Robo-Wolf, a very young title. I don't think this is going to go for very long. Hopefully it does. But this is a colorful entry in the list. This was a lot of people's pick of the week when issue 1 debuted. Super colorful artwork, very funny. It just looks like, honestly, a trippy neon 80s cartoon on steroids with a bunch of crazy characters. And can't say enough good things about this in concept and in execution. I cannot wait for more of this title. Robo-Wolf by Jake Smith. Okay, now coming in at the real number 20, we have a short mini-series called No Man's Land. This was a one-man project, like a one-man black metal band. But yeah, this was Seisman Kudransky on both art and writing. And let me tell you, first of all, the absolute hyper realism of the art is really, really off the chain. I think the only thing I've seen that was a little bit more vivid was maybe like the Avengers Aliens miniseries, but this was really cool. Think like Seven, the movie Seven, and it's out between the United States and Russia, or Alaska and Russia, where this ice bridge forms. This really cool murder mystery, very graphic. This is really cool. I have to say, if you're into like realism and like settings and actual world history, well, this is some good stuff for you. Highly recommended. That was my number 20 this year. Coming in at number 19, we have from Dark Horse, Orphan and the Five Beasts, Bath of Blood. This is just some amazing art. This reminds me of Precious Metal, last year. That was obviously, a different group of people and creative team. This is one individual, James Stocco. Wow. I mean, I gotta say, just the art alone, like, it just blows me away. The plot's cool too, but it's kind of secondary to just the visual. I mean, it's unbelievable. I would love to see so much more from this, and honestly, it just gave me so much. I ended up having to dig out my Precious Metal miniseries as well, and I had to go back through that as well. I just haven't seen stuff quite this visceral from anyone this year, other than other entries on my list, I should say. Coming in at 18, another artistic powerhouse with David Finch on art here. We had a miniseries start called Skinbreaker, or maybe you'd call it a graphic novel because I think it's going to be 8 issues. But anyhow, Skinbreaker is basically like Apocalypto in a like tribe of like space, like they honestly look like ogres almost, or like elven ogres or something, or dark elves or something like that. But anyhow, this is very, apocalypto, and I love it. I just absolutely love that element. Um, the story is very, it helps the plot along, but this is all about David Finch, man. Wow, his artwork is really cool. The coloring, everything is just very atmospheric. This is just bright and pops off the page. And again, this is another book where it's, even if you didn't like the plot, just sit there and take in that artwork. It's so cool. The action scenes are really cool too. So anyhow, if you at all like the movie Apocalypto, this is just should be an instant sell for you. So like think like Apocalypto meets Avatar. I guess that might have been the concept that was thrown at the wall that he ran with, to be honest with you. But this it reads well, and it ain't gonna go on forever, but in 2025 it was a pretty strong book. Coming in at 17 is going to be my only anthology book on my list. Take a wild guess. Assorted Crisis Events from Dennis Camp. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoiler alert: Martian Manhunter or Absolute Martian Manhunter is not on this list. I did not like that book. I absolutely eviscerated it. But that doesn't mean I don't like Dennis Camp. There was only one issue of this so far that I actually thought was kind of lame. But outside of that, for an anthology book, these were some pretty cool stories, pretty cool concepts, and yeah, I mean, for such a troubling year, this was a great title to read and kind of open my mind, up a little bit, and just kind of help me think a little bit about differently about the world. Very strange stories, but that's what they'll help you do. There always seems to be like a point or a moral to the story with these. It's not preachy, but you're definitely not just being given some story that's just like a feel good time either. Like it definitely will make you think with each issue. So I think that's why a lot of people connected with this sort of crisis events, and I think if you haven't checked it out yet, go get your hands on some issues or the trade paperback. You will not be disappointed. All right, how we doing now? How we doing? Okay, so coming in at number 16 from Robert Kirkman. Another one from Robert Kirkman. Void Rivals from Image Comics. This ties in with the Energon universe. If you don't know, you're missing out. Is it the best one in the Energon universe? No, there's two better titles, but it still helps the story greatly, and as a standalone product on its own, it hasn't needed either other book. I mean, it hasn't needed to cross over too heavily with either book. Although there are characters from the other books, I guess there is a crossover, but the events going on in Void Rivals versus the other books and the other crossovers, it seems to be standing alone, and they seem to kind of have their own little assortment of borrowed characters from the G.I. Joe and the Transformers universe, but they seem to be kind of in the Void Rivals universe for right now. They're not in their own universes. So kind of like think the Dark Tower with Per Callahan. Just he was in Salem's Lot, and now he was a character in another book. That's kind of how that feels. Is this essential to your Transformers experience or your G.I. Joe experience? No. Are they essential to your Void Rivals experience? No. But they all read better together, and I'm just gonna say that if I had to let one of them go, it would be Void Rivals. So that's why it's the lowest of the three. But if you have watched my channel at all, I really like all three titles. So at 15, we have a title where if you had released it anytime in the last 25 to 30 years, make it 40 years, it would have been consistently in the top 20 for me, but probably wouldn't have made it into like the top 5. In any regard, it's a good book, and each issue reads really well on its own, typically. Back to back, it can get a little bit repetitive if you're gonna do it in one read, but that's all right. We have other entrants in the list that also have that quality, and they're great to read back to back. So there could be improvement to that down the line, but I don't know that there's much to the concoction here that Jeff Johns can really improve upon, because it's a near perfect book for a what I like to call a monthly reader. You pull it off the shelf, you read it. You don't have to stack them up. And this is at number 15, Red Coat, the insanely entertaining Red Coat. I gotta say, it's not my favorite title, but it's a solid hand. All right, I gotta say, it's a great laugh. There's a lot of humor in it. It's definitely the funniest of the Ghost Machine universe, and I gotta say, he's an endearing character, this Simon Pure, and I really want to see where they go. But I also kind of see I see an expiry date on this story. I think that there's only so far we can take it, and we gotta pull the plug on it. And if you see that, you can't quite throw it in the top 10, at least not for me. So anyway, Red Coat at number 15. I love this title. I hope it sticks around for a while. We'll see. We will see where Jeff Johns has in mind for the unnamed universe. Coming in at number 14, and this is a shock to me because at the time I was reading it, I thought it might be my favorite comic book ever. I mean, by the time I got to issue 12, I calmed down. Maybe even issue 11 or 10, I calmed down a little bit. But I was having some major nostalgia for TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was a real return to form with Jason Aaron at the helm and Juan Ferreira for issues. Well, Juan Ferreira was there from, I believe, issue 6 onward, and then it was, obviously Jason Aaron was the mind behind the title this time around, up until issue 12, and then we got a new team, and luckily, the new team turned out to be perfect, and they're picking up plot threads from Jason Aaron's run. So, what's there to complain about? Well, there isn't really anything to complain about. It just wasn't the best title of the year for me, or even in the top 10. But it was a very, very valuable experience, as this was a year with so many contenders. I have to say, so many books, and so many that I didn't even get to. I may have slept on a few titles here, and I'm really sorry to say so, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was definitely a very, very happy investment of my time and my money, of course. So I would highly recommend this if you can get a trade paperback. One of the top notchers of 2025, number 14. At number 13, we have the concluding arcs of The Incredible Hulk. This is actually issue 30 here depicted. This was the final issue in Incredible Hulk Volume 4. 2025, this title went out with an absolute bang. Philip Kennedy Johnson is a beast. He is an absolute beast of a writer, and Nick Klein, when he's on art, those issues, go back, buy whatever you can, complete that run. It's awesome stuff. The Incredible Hulk by Philip Kennedy Johnson, which leads us right to entrant number 12 in this top 20/21 list of 2025. We have what led off of the Incredible Hulk finale, led into the birth of Infernal Hulk. This is a late entrant in the year. This came out, I want to say, first in November. Wow. Talk about kicking the door in and just making an absolute splash right off the bat. This title is one of the best. It is the best thing I've seen from Marvel in 10 years, honestly. And I can honestly say that, you know, the lead-in from issue 30 of Incredible Hulk there behind me was just absolutely the... Thank you so much to other channels for recommending that issue. I just bought it on a whim, and I went back and read all of Volume 4. I just absolutely am blown away, and this is what I'm talking about. And this is, again, Philip Kennedy Johnson, and on these first 2 issues, it's mostly Nick Klein on the art. There are a couple of pages of some other jabroni. I'm sorry, I don't want to be disrespectful, but that was some terrible, terrible stuff. But it's only a couple pages, and hopefully there won't be too much of that. But wow, the Infernal Hulk is a awesome entered on the year of 2025, and hopefully this title stays exactly like this, because wow, you've made a fan of me, and I'm so excited to get some more of this. So blah 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 blah, I'm very excited about this title. Also, we had some certain titles come back after a hiatus. You know, the title took a break for a few months, and in this particular case it was very missed, but now it's back. Smashing in the door at 11, we have The Sacrificers by Rick Remender. Talk about a title that just does not quit. If you're familiar with Rick Remender's work, you know this guy is like, he's a guaranteed 7 out of 10, but it's typically going to be like 8 out of 10 to like 10 out of 10 style or type comic books and issue to issue experience. He plays the long game, but he plays the short game as well. Every issue, every panel matters. So this is a just an easy pick for number 11. Rick Remender, The Sacrificers. All right, we're halfway through. I just wanted to take a second to thank my bandmate for the generous gift. This was awesome. If you can't see, it's this Metallica themed tankard. I really like this Master and Puppets. It was pretty much my like the dawn of my metal fandom was when I heard that record. I absolutely loved every song on it, but wow, you know, just the concept of you know, the best song on the album being the title track, like that, like I was like, oh, that's why they do that. You know, it was just the best feeling ever, you know, just being a kid and listening to that record over and over. So thank you, Max, you're the man, and I really enjoyed this, and cheers everyone. Looking forward to the new year. Okay, at number 10 we got Absolute Wonder Woman. Okay, this is another one that surprises me. It's so far back up the list. I didn't expect it to be that far up the list. This is kind of like a Red Coat, where it got chucked a little bit further than I thought, because when I really thought about it, after the initial reading experience wore off, was it good? Hell yeah, it was really good. It was really good. One of the best of 2025. But I had to say to myself, well, there was at least 9 better titles in my mind, in my estimation. But I really enjoyed Absolute Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson sets the table for you. This is another monthly reader. Just pick it up off the shelf, read an issue, put it down for a few months, and pick it back up again. You'll be fine. Hayden Sherman, I love the artwork. There's actually an assortment of artists on this title that have been really good. So if you're gonna go back to issue 1 and read the whole way through, you're gonna be pleased the whole way through, but expect a few speed bumps with the art. But that's pretty typical. Absolute Wonder Woman, the Absolute Universe in general, was mostly a success in my mind, and this was one of the strongest titles for sure. It was really, really hard to put this at number 10, and that is because at number 9 we got Absolute Superman, and those two titles, Wonder Woman and Superman, here were very neck and neck for me. But with me, it was something about how Superman just read a little bit more sequentially. I liked it that way, and for me, you know, that's how I mostly have been reading the titles, is sitting down with like a stack of 10 at a time, and it just helps me get a lot more reading done. So with Superman here, it's not your typical Superman for sure. He's very much, you know, he's got the morality of a hero, but he's also got, you know, the unpredictability of a anti-hero. Even though he's not a, you know, an evil individual, he's very antisocial in this. He doesn't go by Superman, he goes by Kal-El. The Superman is more like a nickname, which is it's a cool story aspect. But this comes across like Superman Beyond a little bit. Like, you know, Batman Beyond, but Superman Beyond. And that's fine by me. That's fine by me. He's overpowered. There's some foreboding idea that he's gonna, you know, accidentally destroy the world, which is a theme that's actually a recurring theme in some of the titles that made this list. But in any regard, this surprised me. I really like this addition to, you know, I thought this was just going to be, part of my absolute universe experiment. I was going to read it for a little bit and go, this ain't for me. But I'm glad no, this is really good. I really like this version of Superman, and I'm looking forward to more. Number 9 on my list, just edging out absolute Wonder Woman. Coming in at number 8, the unbelievably entertaining, unbelievably heartwarming Space Quest. Johnny Quest and Space Ghost by Joe Casey. This was the second miniseries Joe Casey did in this Hanna-Barbera themed universe, and I have to say he took the two properties and blended them together so perfectly. This was an awesome title. The stakes felt high, but the general mood always was very I guess audience friendly is what I have to say. Were there, violent deaths and blood, or no, there was none of that, but was there just incredible storytelling and stakes that felt real, considering the universe that's involved in. I mean, that's some mastery there from Joe Casey. This and it had to be good. Sometimes you get these miniseries where you'll have a title like Space Ghost over there being written by a mastermind like David Pepos, and then they got another title and it's another writer and artist team, and it's just this terrible little one shot or whatever, and it's just like, why did you do this? And this is a situation where you got one writer matching, the other guy on the other title, and it's just unbelievable. So if you haven't read either, the 5-part Johnny Quest miniseries he did that preceded this, or Space Quest, if you're worried about having to read either of those to read this, you don't. This can stand alone. It works out better if you do read the Johnny Quest, and if you have read David Pepos' Space Ghost, because why not? It's all quality, I just told you. So, yeah, this was one of my favorite titles that was seeing release in 2025, and I highly recommend it. This is absolutely essential stuff. At number 7, from Joshua Williamson, Image Comics, the Energon universe continues with G.I. Joe. I decided to pick between either G.I. Joe or G.I. Joe Real American Hero this year, and I have to say the Energon universe is the stronger title currently, and it just really picked up in 2025. I don't want to get into like big spoilers here, but one of the weirdest team-ups you'll ever see has been occurring now for, I want to say, 3-4 issues, and without a doubt, G.I. Joe remains one of the absolute strongest titles you're gonna see in comics today, and the fact that it's all tied in with the Energon universe, so they're getting little bits here and there with the Transformers, and we got some stuff cooking up with the what's going on in Void Rivals. This is some good stuff, guys. This is some really good stuff. Get in on this. This is worth the trade paperbacks. Get caught up. It's going to be so much better if you read from issue 1 on. I'm not going to lie. Same with the other titles, and it's going to be better if you get all 3 of the titles. But just like Transformers, just like Void Rivals, you can do this one on its own. Okay, so coming in at number 6, a mini-series that I have absolutely adored since issue 1, Escape, by my guy Rick Remender, who did The Sacrificers just several picks ago. Escape is awesome. Think Saving Private Ryan, type of gore and grit and mercilessness of war, and World War II themed. except it's animals. It's like animal people, and it's so cool. It's so cool, and it's not like a rehash of something that you've already seen. Well, maybe a little bit, but the thing is that what Rick Remender does is Rick Remender things, and Rick Remender is one of my favorite writers for a reason. The artwork here by Daniel Acuna is absolutely off the chain. If you like anything like, I don't know, feral or stray dogs, this isn't that art style. This is grit, pure grit. This is pure war. This is pure anguish of war. This is awesome, and this is adrenaline. This is pure adrenaline. This is a manly comic, and I love this fucking book. All right, we made it to the final 5 of the top 20 picks. Well, the 21 picks of 2025 best titles in comics. I just wanted to toast everyone. Happy New Year and all that good stuff. All right, and what a title to kick in the door for the top 5 then. Geiger. Again, Jeff Johns, second time on this list, and whew, we just got issue 19. Wasn't his strongest issue, but as a title in general, this is one worth a toast. I really enjoyed the very gritty way he tells this story. Everything feels very I wouldn't say the detail of the art is quite no man's land level, but the artwork, there's a very, surrealness to it because of the realism of the characters and the character designs. So there's a very, very, real world effect, but this is a dystopian world. It is so cool. Tariq Geiger is such a cool character. His little assortment of side characters are cool. This is a cool story. And, I kind of described it as like, it's the type of story where it feels like not much happened, but you're still really happy you got to see it. And of course there is stuff happening, but it's just the way it's going. It's so cinematic, but in like a dry kind of way. There's something really cool about this book, and I gotta say the fact that it's a kind of like an alternative superhero book is right on the money. And this is the title I was kind of comparing to Absolute Superman, where the main character could be, the literal destruction of the world. So there's a whole double-edged sword type of thing going on here, and Geiger's good stuff. If you want a good authentic read and you want something you can kind of stack up and read in an afternoon, there's a great one for that. So Geiger, number 5. Okay, so coming in at number 4, the last entrant from the Absolute Universe for the year 2025. Absolute Batman. As you can see, this is the most recent issue that came out with the more in-depth introduction to the Joker, and then woo, what an ending to that issue. What can I say? Absolute Batman is amazing. Oh, but it's not in the top 3? Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. But it's absolutely, no pun intended. I like that word a lot. If you watch this channel, you'll notice. But it's absolutely worth your time, worth the investment. If you don't want to, go into the other Absolute titles, in my opinion, if you're gonna pick one, if you have to go on one, Absolute Batman is it. I'm not even gonna try to describe it to you. Just pick up from issue 1. It's a brand new, completely out of left field type of Batman story, and they might just be doing everything to just kind of shock value on everything. But you know what? It's good comic fun. It's a fresh story on a unfresh character. So let's just see it and see where it goes, because I've been enjoying it. Everyone seems to be enjoying it. Number 4. Absolute Batman. Let's see where 2026 takes this title. All right, we're down to the final 3 now. I know I'm making a big deal out of this, but coming in at number 3, and this is no easy decision, but I have to say, in 2025, Space Ghost was very strong by David Pepose, and this is the second time we're seeing Space Ghost on this list. That is no lucky accident. This was the stars aligning here on this universe of these Hanna-Barbera favorites. to be honest with you, this is just such a strong title. You could literally pick up issue 7 coming up here, as the next oncoming issue. You could literally pick up that issue, and I guarantee you'll get all the catch up you need, and you could just literally finish the volume. You don't even have to go back, but you should go back. If you haven't gone back and bought every single issue of Space Ghost so far, well, I got news for you. You're missing out. You're missing out big. And in 2025, the stakes only got higher. The enemies, the villains are only becoming more formidable. We got something big on the horizon. But like I said, you could pick up any issue. You could pick up issue 7 coming up here in volume 2, and you'd be well on your way to being right there with the rest of us. But again, go back and get everything, or you're crazy. All right, we're down to our final 2 again. Woo! Ooh, the heat is on here. This was a very difficult decision because my top 2 were so neck and neck in 2025. But they were also neck and neck in 2024. These titles are some of the highest quality of comic book in the modern day, or in any day, that I've ever seen in my entire life. But with, no great ease, I must call this book the runner-up of 2025, which is still a heck of a statement considering everything else I've, shown you in my 20. We have The Incredible by Jeff Johns, Rook Exodus. It had a small hiatus, but just the few books we've gotten in 2025 were enough to rocket propel this book up to number 2 for me. What can I say? Jason Fabok, his art is absolutely unbelievable. This book is probably my favorite art as far as, I guess broader appeal. I do like my Orphan and my Precious Metal and my Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone style art. I really, there's a Vertigo book coming out. I think it's called Dead Beats or something like that. That looks really, really good. I love the Stranger art, but in this particular case, what we have is just some of the best art. But this is like comic book art. This reminded me of the Boss Select screen and Mega Man X. This reminded me a little bit of just a few. I mean, just a bunch of things. I mean, this is some excellent stuff here, and I absolutely had. Oh, Metal Gear Solid. It also reminded me a little bit of Metal Gear Solid with the bosses and that. This just hit all the buttons, and it will hit the buttons with you too. The character designs are so essential to the plot. If you look at the character designs and you think that's weird, just give the book a chance. Give the book a chance. It's got serious stakes. It reads like a champ, and without a doubt, if you pick up an issue and you're lost, it's the only thing it's gonna do. If you pick up a later issue, is gonna propel you all the way to issue 1 to start from the beginning, because you're gonna be so intrigued. Rook Exodus by Jeff Johns are my number 2 for 2025. And coming in at number 1, can we get a drum roll? Drum roll, can we get a drum roll, please? Drum roll, can we? I guess no one's here. All right, so coming in at number 1. Oh boy, this is going to be a big surprise to y'all that have been watching the channel. But here we go, it's Transformers. Okay, it's no surprise at all. I'm a huge Transformers mark. I love my Transformers, and with where Daniel Warren Johnson left off, Robert Kirkman has picked up with such force and authority. This title went from 10 to 11 out of nowhere. I mean, I couldn't even have imagined it getting even better than where we left off with issue number 24, but it did, and it is. And with Dan Moore, I mean, I know this is only temporary. With Dan Moore on art, I'm sorry, Jorge Corona, but this is just a small step up, and that's not to say that we didn't get a little Jorge Corona in the beginning of issue 25. I loved that scene. with Megatron, talking to all the Decepticons, going through them all by name. That was such a good panel. I love that. So right here, I gotta say, pick up Transformers, pick up any issue. It's the same thing as Rook Exodus. It is a sequential reader. You need to pick up from issue 1 and read the entire thing, but pick up any issue, and I promise you, you will be so intrigued by what you're seeing from Transformers. You will recognize this is, if you remember the animated movie, if you're a millennial or a Gen Xer, and you remember the animated movie, you know, the real animated movie, this is the one that we should have got with the characters we actually cared about. Not to say that Hot Rod and other characters from that movie aren't featured in different ways inside this universe. Some better than others. But this is not that book. Well, okay, maybe RC. But this is not that book otherwise. This is the book that is, it's all the G1 and G2 Transformers that you love, but they're all getting used. It's amazing. This is just one of the best titles ever. It's the most compelling story, the most compelling art, the most compelling action, the most compelling double crosses, the most compelling nostalgia factor of everything. Transformers is number one, and I cannot wait for 2026 to see where Robert Kirkman and gang take this monster of a universe and just propel us into the next phase. And this was really hard, because after I read Jeff Johns' Ghost Machine universe, it was neck and neck with all three of the major universes, and I just had a smattering of different titles that were just up to that quality. But we are living in a day and age where we have three massive universes going at the same time, and they're all unbelievably addictive and unbelievably high quality and unbelievably good, and they harken back to any era of comics you want to compare them to. So Transformers, number one, 2025. This has been Drumboy Reads Slow. I really enjoyed running through these lists and deciding on them. Please, hey, in the comments, if I didn't get to something, there's probably a big chance that I actually didn't get time to read it this year. I've been bogged up with multiple jobs. This is something new I'm doing. I don't necessarily want to be any kind of influencer. I just want to share my love for comics. I do this for fun. Yeah, but yeah, please hit me up in the comments and let me know if I missed out on something, or you thought there was something I didn't give enough of a look at. I'm interested to see what you guys think, and hit me up with your own lists. I want to see what you guys were reading this year as well. So yeah, please pop back in if you want, or if this is the last video you ever watched from me. I hope you enjoyed it. But anyway, this has been Drumboy Reads Slow. Happy New Year, and happy holidays and all that good stuff, even though that's already passed. And the best to you and all in 2026. We'll see you there.